Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our webinar, How to Prepare for Digital Innovation. So people are still joining, but it is 10 o'clock. So I'll just go through a bit of housekeeping. So you've all joined through GoToMeeting, and there will be a panel on the right-hand side where there's the opportunity to ask questions. So throughout the next 30 minutes, please feel free to pop your questions in there. And myself or Adrian will pick these up throughout the presentation. You are on mute, primarily because there are so many people here, which is great, and also this is being recorded. So if you want to share this at a later stage with your colleagues, then please let me know, and we will send you a link. So what I'll do is I will kick off with a brief introduction to who's going to be on the call today. So I've got my colleague Adrian Cole. He's a solutions architect at m-hance. So basically Adrian is responsible for a number of projects where that we're looking at, I suppose, the whole strategy, the whole technical architecture, the whole solution, and how it fits together as an ultimate project for the charity sector specifically. So Adrian's joining me today, which is great, and we'll talk about the experience of the digital transformation projects with our clients. My name's Tori Cassie. I'm in business development. I've been working with Dynamics as a platform for probably about 20 years, and specifically in the not-for-profit sector, probably about 15 now. So hopefully between the two of us, we'll be able to hopefully sort of, I suppose, talk about our experiences of other organizations in the sector who have embraced the digital transformation journey. So what we're going to talk, I've just got one slide on who we are, who m-hance are, and then I'm really going to talk about, do you feel you're ready for digital innovation? And, there's a few terminologies here that I'm using: digital innovation, digital transformation, but ultimately it really is the same thing. In terms of the organizations that we engage with, they're all at different stages in this journey, and we're hopefully trying to talk to you today about identifying whether you and your organization is ready. We're going to talk about some key considerations before you actually do begin this journey, and then once you're ready to start, what do you need to do? And then a bit of a wrap up at the end. So this is the only slide I've got on m-hance and who we are. In summary, we're a Microsoft Gold partner. We're based throughout the UK, and we've also got an office in Dublin, and we implement Dynamics 365 Business Central, which is finance solution, and Dynamics 365 CRM online. So the slide here really is a whole breadth of organizations, from pretty large organizations to some of the smaller, lesser known ones. But these organizations have all adopted Dynamics 365 and m-hance to deliver their digital transformation, their digital project. But they've all started from different points, really. Some of these have literally come off paper. So, for example, Solent Minds, they came off spreadsheets and sheets of paper onto Dynamics 365. Some organizations here have moved off bespoke systems, or they've moved off old systems, old on-premise or unsupported systems. And some organizations are really moving from products to more of a platform to really, realize the benefits that a platform can give. And I think it's really important that when people, talk about digital transformation or digital innovation, really, what does it mean? So sort of, I suppose I've put this slide here to sort of say, what does digital innovation mean? Some people just say, I want to get into the cloud. Some people say it just means we need to collect more donations through social media and text giving. And some people say, I just need to have pretty pictures and graphs of everyone who's donated and lifetime value, and use data insights, again, a term that's used quite widely in the sector. And I think it's really important when we engage with organizations, it's ensuring that our clients understand what this actually means. What does a significant project like a digital transformation project mean? And it does mean different things to different organizations. I think there are a lot of people that talk about this and read about it in blogs, and there's lots of reports out there, and I know that Adrian's going to cover some statistics later, just in terms of why the charity sector is behind on digital transformation. I think what's important is really, rather than, yes, we need to do this, we need a new project, we need to invest time and money on this, but what are the actual objectives of a digital transformation? So you know, is it just put in a system in the cloud so that people can access it all the time? Is it just have a nice shiny Microsoft or Salesforce badge? You know, is that a digital transformation? But ultimately, it's understanding what are the benefits that this project is going to bring, not just to you as an organization, but ultimately to your supporters, your beneficiaries, your volunteers, you know, your trusts, anybody who you engage with. And agreeing those objectives throughout the whole organization is really important. It's not just about engaging the fundraising team. But one thing that is important is these projects are not IT led. You know, where we've seen great success in projects is where, you know, everybody has, you know, the project is engaged, everybody throughout the whole organization and those externally, such as volunteers, to really understand what are the project objectives. This is a great chance to really look at data, to look at business processes, to look at automation. And that's, I think, what we need. What we try to do is encourage organizations to really look at that, rather than this is just a new piece of software that we're going to stick in the cloud and it's going to work and automatically we're going to get better awareness and more income. It is really more than that. But ultimately, what we try to do is also, how do we measure the success of the project? So, you know, you would need to put a business case together and get this approved by board and trustees in terms of the time and the cost and the resource it's going to take. And ultimately, how are you going to measure the success of the project? And people often come to us, and I think Adrian will agree that, you know, if we invest in a new system, if we invest in Dynamics 365, will we increase our income by X percentage, or will we be able to do X, Y, and Z? It's very difficult. You know, there's no guarantee that putting in Dynamics 365 will increase your income. But I think that we have seen some great ROI and some great results and feedback and KPIs from organizations that have embraced Dynamics 365 and have gone through this process. So this is a quote that I've put up. You know, I think, you know, what is digital transformation? And, you know, Zoe, who's very prolific in the sector and is a huge fan and, you know, very enthusiastic about digital transformation in the sector. And she sort of says digital transformation means integrating digital across our organization to deliver our vision, create value, give our audience great experience and services, and develop a competitive advantage. And I think in this context, you know, competitive advantage, it doesn't mean you need to operate in sort of a cutthroat way or stop collaborating with other charities. I think what she's trying to get here is, how, you know, I've interpreted it, is you need to fully understand what makes your charity truly unique, you know, what's going to make a difference, and how you can use the digital, as with digitalization, to capitalize on that. And that's really important. And I think leading on to that is just the next slide, which is digital transformation, as I said before, is not an IT project. There are three key elements that really will make any digital transformation project a success. And that is where organizations have identified and accepted and then have embraced that there's three equal parts to this. So one is people, one is your processes, and one is technology. And they all carry equal weight. You know, engaging with your supporters, your beneficiaries, your users, your employees, your staff is really, really key, and understanding what they want to achieve. And that also impacts the processes. And Adrian's going to talk about understanding the business processes later on. But just taking what you've got now in a system and then replicating that into a new system isn't really going to give you any benefits to what is, you know, hard work. You know, these projects are hard work. So, you know, engaging with your people to understand those processes is really key. And then using that technology together with people and processes will really ensure that you have a successful project. So the technology, and we talk about technology being an enabler, but it is about, you know, using the platforms that you've got, using the tools that you've got with the people to really understand, so that you can get the benefits of the project. But digital isn't just about the tools or platforms that you use. You know, we always talk when we engage with projects about the importance of people and the culture and behaviors. It's really that's going to frame what your charity is trying to do. So absolutely agree in the strategy and the vision, and then introduce the digital technology. These are just some slides that I suppose, you know, I've talked to the team, and we've done this for a number of years now, and, you know, some of these questions might be familiar. You know, if you can answer these questions and you know, everything's great and yeah, everything's fine, then maybe you aren't ready, or you don't need a to embrace and embark on a digital transformation project. But ultimately, we see a lot of organizations that have silos of data. So one of the key reasons why people do select a new system is they might have a system for membership, system for fundraising, system for events, you know, and so forth. And you've got silos of data where you've got the same contact in various systems. So not only is that a compliance issue and a GDPR, it could be that you're, you know, over communicating to those individuals, you know, and it could be that you're not communicating in a relevant and targeted way. So, you know, in terms of Dynamics 365 or any platform or digital transformation project, it's about understanding how we can address these issues that organizations have and users have. And I think what is key is that we need to engage better with our supporters and beneficiaries, because, you know, over communicating isn't great, you know, and people just start to delete emails and not read those emails. And it may be that communication through social media is better, and it could be that texting is better for some as well. So it's about understanding how best to communicate with your supporters. But as a sort of, you know, we're all consumers, we expect more. And I think that is where this digital transformation or fourth generation is really coming from, is we expect more. You know, we're all used to using, you know, apps for banking, for example, or Amazon, and buying things and expecting delivery straight away and receipts straight away electronically. And that's no different to this sector. We're trying to make it a better user experience, so that as a volunteer or as somebody who as a major donor, that you are receiving relevant information, you are receiving that love and care, that you want to know that your donation is valued, and you want to obviously, you know, be able to log on and update your preferences, be able to look at where your donations are going, you know, what it's achieving, what benefit is it giving to the good cause of the charity. So these sort of questions are really what we see coming out all the time, and that we try to address. And these questions here are more, I suppose, a little bit more technical, but these are more sort of a senior level. You know, is our data secure? You know, do we have a disaster recovery in place? You know, are we able to provide somebody with a subject access request? How long is it going to take? We need to do it within a certain number of days. You know, are our trustees and members and donors, are they adequately informed in what we're doing as a charity? And all of this is something, again, that we take on board, and it's something that we address throughout the project. So not only are they sort of, you know, user questions on the previous slide, and I suppose these are more sort of concerns that we get from more of a senior level as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand over to Adrian. We're going to talk about the considerations in terms of, you know, before embracing with a digital transformation project. Adrian.
Thanks, Tori. Thanks for the intro, and good morning, everyone. So yeah, really happy to be on this webinar and speaking to you about this. So what I'm going to do is just cover a few more slides, really looking at what sort of considerations should, you know, do we think you should be looking at when you're looking at a digital strategy, and then moving on to what are some of the initial things that you can be doing to prepare for that. So this is sort of largely based on our experience in the sector. And Tori mentioned, you know, I'm a solution architect at m-hance, which gives me a fantastic opportunity to go in and meet with some of you and some of your colleagues in the sector to really understand what it is that you're looking for in terms of digital innovation. And of course, from an m-hance perspective, you know, we're coming at it from very much from a sort of Dynamics, a CRM, Business Central perspective. But, you know, often these digital transformation projects, you know, encompass other projects as well, not just CRM. So it might be that you're looking at website, you're looking at opening up more social media channels and things like that. So if I just, can you give me control, please, Tori? Sorry.
Yep, you've got control.
That's great, thank you. There we go. So yeah, just a few initial considerations there around sort of the digital innovation. So as Tori mentioned, it's not just the technology. So you can bring in a partner like m-hance to help on the technology side of things, but there's your processes and there's your people as well. And I'll come back to this later in the presentation. But one of the things that we always advocate is that you need to be prepared for the amount of dare I say, the amount of effort from your own organization on this. It's not just a technical solution, bringing in a new website, bringing in a new CRM system. I don't think it should just be seen as a technology project, being, instigated and delivered by an IT group. It needs to be very much part and parcel of everybody's, sort of work within the charity. So first and foremost, making sure that you've got the right culture. So just as an example, the Charity Digital Skills Report in 2019, culture came out as the third largest barrier to charities getting the most out of digital. So, based on that empirical evidence of sort of surveying across the sector, this is one of the biggest challenges that we'll have if we embark with you on a digital transformation project, because you need to make sure that that culture's there within the organization. So it can't just be one person who's sort of pushing forward and going, yes, we need to do this as a new CRM project, we need this as a new website. It really needs to get that sort of culture across the organization at every level, and making sure we've got the right foundations. I'll come on to this later as well, but when we get into project mode and we're speccing out how we're going to build something, we really need everybody to be bought into the technical changes that are going to come along, and what that means in terms of how you engage with supporters. Collaboration is going to be key as well. So this is working across departments to define how to do things better. So again, what we don't want to do as m-hance is just come in and move you to the cloud and you've got, dare I say it, the same system, but it's just got a nice pretty front end. What we want to make sure is that you've got the right platform to allow you to grow and allow you to, dare I say, operate potentially more efficiently in the future. And to do that, we need to have, for example, discovery workshops where colleagues from across the charity come in and talk about how their processes work and how they hand processes between different teams and so on. So if we've got an organization where there's sort of silos, both in terms of the systems, but then also in terms of the ways of working and the ways of collaborating between them, and teams don't talk, then that's a bit of a red flag for us. So, need to make sure that we try and get some of this collaboration going on within the organization, at the very start of this process. And there are some things we can do. I'll come on to it in a moment in terms of making sure we get the right people identified. The next one on the list there, greater transparency. So, this is certainly something that's become more and more prevalent in the sector over the last few years. There's more and more, dare I say it, eyes on, how charities are canvassing supporters, how we're gaining the trust of the supporters, and then ultimately how their hard-earned money is being spent and invested in terms of a charitable efforts. It doesn't need to be a negative experience though, and I think using that sort of supporter experience, supporter centricity of this digital innovation is a great thing, because it's, a lot of these systems that I mentioned, like a sort of CRM system, website, social media integration, things like that, that's really going to open up those sort of, what were barriers, if you like, between, your supporters and your organization. But also, as Tori mentioned, a lot more expectation is out there now as well from that supporter base in terms of how quickly they're going to get information about, their donation has been processed, or their advocacy letter has been sent on to the MP, or whatever it is. They're expecting to be able to see, what the effort is that the charity is doing, almost sort of real time. And then, next one on the list there, the understand existing digital skills. So what we find is quite often, we go into an organization and people got quite used to the way that they currently work, but You know, people do move around the sector. People do have a lot of experience coming from other areas of their lives in terms of expectations, like I mentioned, in terms of how you engage with digital technologies. So actually looking within the organization and making sure that, you know, as we go into a transformation project, we're making use of the skills that you already have in-house, even if they're not being used for that specific purpose right now. So once we've sort of started to think about those challenges and those considerations, we need to sort of look at, okay, how can we start making this into, you know, practicalities? Where can we make a start? And part of that is going to be, you know, identifying, you know, the right partner to work with potentially, you know, the right platform that suits your purposes. But whilst you're doing that, I think there are some key things that, you know, you can be looking at as an organization. Now, one of those is to start looking at your processes as they are at the moment. So, you know, often we go into sessions, you know, discovery workshops where, you know, we need to do process mapping. And I always advocate that we get the people who do those processes in those workshops. And dare I say it, tell us how your current processes work today, not how you think they should work. Or how you think they're currently working, or how they were mapped sort of 2 or 3 years ago. So making sure that we understand where we're starting from as that as is process. Interview the team members and make sure that we understand, you know, who's doing which bits of work and so on, and then working out what the future state looks like. And again, you know, exploit the knowledge of the team to understand where the current pain points are. You know, use some of that digital knowledge that the teams already have about how they see the processes working like in the future. And it may be, you know, if you're already there and you've already got a flexible CRM system and it's already integrated nicely with your website and it's all very pretty, that's great. You know, by doing that process mapping exercise, hopefully you can identify some benefits that you can achieve, you know, pretty easily and pretty much now. Or by mapping out those processes, mapping out the challenges, that can help feed into that business case and show you, you know, what the benefits of going on this digital innovation journey could look like, and what benefits that could bring to your organization. Oh. Sorry, Tori, can you move me back? It's not, yeah, it's not really, right, it is. So the next thing to look at is really the future state thinking. So I mentioned future processes and mapping out the to-be processes, but it's also taking time out to think about what you want to get from a digital innovation, a digital transformation process. Okay, so we've already said, you know, we don't advocate just replacing the existing system, moving to the cloud. You know, do you take the opportunity now to re-engineer you know, processes, experiences, both you know, within the organization, but supporter experiences as well. And are you also looking at, you know, dare I say, almost a fundamental shift of how you want to interact with your supporters and your volunteers and your beneficiaries? So again, you know, back to Tori's point around sort of digital and how we, you know, we've all become more used to getting things immediately and being able to interact with, you know, whoever, be it your, you know, your bank or your supermarket or whatever it is digitally. That expectation is now out there as well, I feel, for charities. So supporters want to be able to message you on Facebook, for example, or, you know, retweet something that you've pushed out there as part of their advocacy and so on. So it's really looking at how you do that. And our advice is that you don't just sort of look internally and consult with leadership, you also consult with supporters. So, you know, if you've already got somebody who's doing some supporter experience work, then bringing those into the project as well, and really finding out what supporters want and feel that you should be investing into in terms of the platform. So just a couple more slides on this before I hand back to Tori. So just a few sort of things really here. There's a bit of a list just to sort of start sowing a few seeds about what you could be thinking about. So this is really sort of jumping ahead now. I'm really oversimplifying the project, but looking at digital innovation and what it can bring to you. So looking at, let's say, supporter centricity, building out let's say persona-based supporter journeys or really hyper-personalized supporter journeys for supporters to interact with you as the charity. Okay, so moving away from mass-based comms, pushing out, and as Tori mentioned, over communicating, to something that's really quite pertinent to the supporter, and using some of these digital platforms, you can certainly get there. Omni-channel engagement, so bringing in lots of new channels of ways of people to support you, both time, money and voice, and making sure that you're talking to the supporter in the way that they want to be talked to, rather than, again, like I say, falling back to that sort of mass email basis. New ways of supporting as well. So, there's a lot of innovation at the moment out there in, let's say, sort of retail banking. So how do we expect supporters to donate in the future? Standing orders are falling off, checks are falling off, but things like paying by mobile are increasing. So we need to make sure that whatever platform you move forward with has got the capability to be able to support that now or in the future. And then there's lots of things coming out in terms of the technology. So, as part of Microsoft Partner Network, we're seeing a lot of things out there around artificial intelligence. Now, that could be quite simple, like a chat bot on your website that's triaging questions and, pointing supporters to frequently asked questions, or sending in a support case or something. It could be something much more advanced. So looking at working out what the next best action is, the next best communication for a given supporter. And then we've got things like democratization of technology. So, one of the things that we work with at m-hance is the Power Platform. So that's Microsoft's automation, so Power Automate, Power BI, Power Apps, and allowing people to start automating their own processes to free some of their valuable time up. And then lastly on the list there, related projects. So we never get to do a project in isolation. We never get to do a project from the start. So there will be other stuff going on. You might be looking at CRM and web and finance system and some different ways of managing volunteer networks, for example, all at the same time. It's just to be cognizant of that as well. So just last slide for me before I hand back to Tori. So one thing that we always say is that you need to factor in probably about 3 times the effort that we put into the project yourselves. Okay, so this is going to really need those people who are sort of subject matter experts who can be champions of a future system, to be able to dedicate their time to the process, to the project. And I really advocate looking at that now and working out who you would rely on as part of this project, and making sure that you can free up some of their time, backfill some of their work, get it offloaded onto other people so that they've got the, dare I say it, the brain space to deal with this in the future. So that's it for me. I'll hand back to Tori now just to go through some key conclusions and wrap up.
Thank you, Adrian. So yeah, just in terms of I suppose a summary of the presentation this morning, what I suppose some of the objectives of the project is a lot of organisations that we've engaged with is really how to understand everybody, every individual, and every organisation that really engages with you as a charity, and being able to communicate with those that is personal, and why they're making a difference. So, you can't really do that if your data's in silos. You can't really do that if you're on a system that is maybe it's not technically advanced to be able to have workflows, for example, or to ensure that you're communicating to the right people based on certain attributes. But it's really about embracing that technology as well. So making sure that the integrations are in place. I mean, really with technology that's around now, rekeying data is really a thing of the past. I mean, I worked with a charity probably about a year ago, and they had a whole team who would rekey in data from paper from their shops, and really the tools are out there now that we can integrate to tills. We do that with a lot of our projects. Other things like text giving as well, and contactless. All these things are are available now, and tools that we're partnering, other organizations we're partnering with to implement these solutions within organizations. And integration with websites, you know, where people are registering for an event, or whether they're making a donation or renewing their membership, is that data to be seamlessly updated within your platform, such as Dynamics 365, and push back to the website as well, making it easier for people to donate. And, you know, as Adrian said, you know, online donations, they grew 26%. They're growing 26% year on year. And actually the value of the donations, they grew last year by 20%. So, you know, checks are a thing of the past, cash is a thing of the past. And, you know, if you look at the, you know, the age group that we are now in terms of people who are donating, you know, it's absolutely got to be easy. It's got to be easy to be able to click on something and just donate. So, you know, donation and income processing has got to be easy to do. And a number of charities we've worked with, they've said, you know, the fundraising team or events team, and, you know, people come to them and say, we want to be able to do this, and the solution they have really is a barrier to delivering that. So, you know, selecting a platform, selecting something like Dynamics 365 will absolutely ensure that as an organization, you know, those people within the team who are inspired to do different things, to try different ways of generating income and communicating with individuals, is really there, and it is not a barrier. And just lastly, I just wanted to say, you know, just to repeat what I said earlier on, is that this isn't just about technology. Really, the successful projects that we've delivered, you know, for digital transformation projects, it's all about the people, it's about processes, and also the technology. And that's really going to drive the impact for you and your charity. What I just wanted to move on to is just in terms of highlighting some upcoming webinars. We're doing a lot of webinars at the moment because obviously, you know, unfortunately, you know, the events that we normally do at this time of year and previously in the spring, that they've been put on hold till the autumn. So we've done lots of webinars this year, and you can visit our website and look at previous webinars. And these are all the webinars that are coming up. So, you know, we've got one this afternoon. So if you are already using Dynamics 365 and you want to look at, you know, upgrading to the new user interface, please register for that. And we've got one on Thursday, the second one this week, and that's looking at end-to-end fundraising and finance. And that's taking the Dynamics solution, so looking at all the Microsoft technology, the Microsoft Power Platform, and how our solution for the charity sector, from fundraising fully integrated to finance, is a solution that we can offer your charity today. So lots and lots of webinars and exciting webinars. These are all recorded, so if you can't make these times, then you know, please go on the website and you'll be able to access them from there. And these are some calendars, which, you know, calendar events which are going to take place, such as, you know, the Wheel in Dublin, IT Leaders Conference, a Charity Technology Conference, where, you know, we would typically be there with a stand and be able to talk to you face to face and demonstrate solutions to you. So, you know, hopefully we'll be seeing you at those events later on in the year. So, if you hopefully like what you've seen today, or you'd like to know more, please feel free to contact us. You will be sent a short survey. Be grateful if you could respond to that. And if you've got any questions, then obviously, you know, please let us know. Otherwise, thank you very much for your time. Slightly a few minutes over, but look forward to seeing you on another webinar soon. Thanks very much, Adrian, as well.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.